being born and raised here, and I went to a Catholic school here in my neighborhood, again, in a predominantly Italian neighborhood. So what I was taught from them was that Rizzo was a hero. And it wasn't until I was older that I realized the pain and violence that he inflicted on Black and brown communities. Knowing that there was a lot of tension and racial tension that was happening that, has, what I tell people, I lived in my community my entire life. So, I know how people have reacted to Rizzo are things that are not new to me, because I was in this neighborhood growing up in the 80s. And there's this sense that like all this change has happened. And so some things have changed and some things have remained the same. When Rizzo's statue was being removed, I knew that the mural was going to follow shortly after. And so while I was looking at the wall, I was thinking several things. And one thing was this concept of cleanse. Cleanse is a series of projections that is meant to utilize visual images, video, text, to really create and form a space of healing. Then the next thought that came to my mind, especially with the work that we were doing on Ninth and Montrose, that the images that would be reflected in cleanse would be folks that are also representations of the market, right? So not necessarily focusing on Rizzo, but let us focus on the beauty and the joy and the love and triumph that we have living and breathing in our market at this moment, right?
If you have the time, the money, and the official power to build a monument to someone who's important to you or your community, you do it because you've had the access. But if you don't have the time, the money, or that official power, you claim your own power. You gather next to a monument that exists, or you build your own monument. And that's the way you make your presence felt.
We're out here this rain reminding you to vote Tuesday, November the 3rd. Make sure you go vote. As I came up to say, they're trying to tell us that our vote doesn't matter. But it must matter because they're trying to stop us from voting.
You know, what we're seeing with the big spotlight on monuments, it's about the symbols we've inherited, but it is as much about systems of power, both in terms of empowerment and disempowerment. It's about justice, both in terms of the possibilities as well as the pitfalls.
All Power to All People is a Afro-Pic sculpture that was installed to North Philadelphia, 2 blocks away from where my great-grandparents used to live, on the same property of the church where my grandmother has been going for almost 80 years. I do see this work being, of course, in the legacy of the beautiful murals that are all over Philadelphia, but also impromptu sculptures and events that kind of have popped up that make the city unique.
When we would visit family, like in North Philly, or would drive through Philadelphia, my first exposure to murals were the memorials to folks that were victims of violence. How I see myself in the work that I do is really building from that, right? It's not reinventing it. It's not saying, oh, well, let's make it fancier. It's actually like valuing not just what is there already, but the people who have created that space. In the midst of pain, in the midst of poverty, in the midst of so many obstacles, there's resilience and there's power and there's love and there's joy and there's triumph and there's hope.